Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this is the new iPhone 17e. I thought we'd unbox it and talk about what's new. Now this starts at $599, goes up to $799, and you have a 256GB or 512GB storage option. We also have a new color this year in soft pink. We also still have white and black, and I have the iPhone 16e here to compare it with. Now let's flip this over and you'll see that this is the 17e in soft pink with 256GB. So let's go ahead and unbox it and take a look. So we'll pull these back here. And let's open it up, see what we get with it. So here's the new soft pink color. So again, this just goes along with black and white. And then in the box, it looks like we only have a couple different things here. We have a little bit of documentation or literature. And if we remove this here, it's just usually a quick start guide. And it says you no longer need a physical SIM card. And then you have a hearing aid compatibility note. So that's pretty much it here. And then you've got a cable. So you have USB-C to USB-C. So you can see that here. And it is a braided cable, but it's not color matched or anything like that. Now let's go ahead and box this up here and set that aside and take a look at the phone. So we'll set this aside here. And let's take a look at the phone itself. So we'll take the cover off. And this is just sort of an incremental upgrade this year, but there are some nice upgrades. So design-wise, it's pretty much the same. So we have our power sleep wake button on the right-hand side, no camera control. Then we have our antenna lines. On the bottom here, of course, we've got our speaker, microphone, and USB-C. And then on the left-hand side, we have an action button and our volume buttons, again, with more antenna lines. On the top, just another antenna line. Then, of course, on the back, we have a camera, microphone, and flash, and that's about it. If we compare it to last year's model, it's basically the exact same. So the same exact layout, everything looks the same. However, of course, we have this new color. We do have an upgraded glass on the front this time around with Ceramic Shield 2, which is 3 times better scratch resistance than before. It also now supports MagSafe up to 15 watts. So let's go ahead and see here. And MagSafe should attach to it. Let's take a look with the magnets quickly, and then we'll turn it on. So before we attach the charger, this is magnet paper, and you can see the MagSafe ring in the back along with the speakers here and the different magnets behind each thing. So again, if we compare that with the 16e side by side, there's nothing there as far as the overall MagSafe. You can see that side to side. So let's go ahead and connect this. So again, you can use MagSafe. It's not Qi 2 25 watt, but it is up to 15 watts. It also comes in at 5.96 ounces or 169 grams. It's 2 grams heavier than last year's model. So not a big difference there, but slightly heavier. We've already turned it on because I connected the charger here. We'll wait for it to boot up. And this is a 6.1-inch display, same as last year, and has a peak brightness of 1200 nits. So we'll go ahead and get it set up. We'll see if it has that PWM option where we don't have it in last year's model. So you'll see there, it says hello. And then we can swipe to open. We'll select our language here. And then if we bring a phone that's nearby that's already on our account, let's see if we can do that here. Then we can scan the QR code here. It will connect. Then we'll have to put in the password to this phone. It will take just a moment here. So we'll go ahead and put in our passcode here. And it says setting up your iPhone. So we'll give it just a moment here. So now it's setting up. It says it may take a few minutes to activate your phone. So we'll give it just a moment here. And then it says data and privacy. We'll tap continue. Then we can set up Face ID. Again, tap continue, get started. And you just center your face like this. Move it around. Typically you do that once or twice. And then you can select to use it with a mask or don't use it with a mask. You can set that up later as well. We'll tap continue. We can either transfer data or we'll set it up basically from new just so we can see what we've got here. So we'll give it a moment. It says setting up your account, signing in, and then we have to agree to the terms and conditions. So again, signing in here, we'll give it a moment. Now I'm signed in. It's saying make this your new iPhone. Here's everything set up you had on your other phone. Let's go ahead and customize this. And we don't want to transfer anything. I want to set this up as new. Of course, you could transfer this, and I have a separate video showing you how to transfer everything from your old iPhone to a new iPhone. Now it's saying, do you want to update automatically? I'll only download for now. We can enable location services. So I'll go ahead and do that. We can set up Apple Pay now or later. We'll set it up later for now. And then we can set up screen time. Again, I'll set that up later just so we can see the home screen here. We can share Apple Analytics with Apple or not. We can use Apple Intelligence or not. And then we can have it summarize notifications. That's actually a really nice feature. And then you can select what you want it to summarize, but you don't have to use this at all. You also have priority notifications, visual intelligence. So again, we'll tap continue, and then you can customize the action button. So you can customize it to whatever you'd like: silent mode, camera, voice memos, flashlight, and then tap continue. Then we can set up Siri now or do it a little bit later. And let's go ahead and continue. And we can set that up later. Now it says, do you want to improve Siri and dictation? I'll tap not now. And then it talks about emergency SOS, which is a great feature. We'll tap continue. And now it says get started. So let's go ahead and tap get started. We'll tap cancel for now for the wallet, and let's see what we have. This is the default setup with all of the different default apps. Of course, you can uninstall many of these, but let's go ahead and see what version we have installed from the factory. So if we go into our settings, go to General, and then we go to About, you'll see it comes with iOS 26.3.1, which is build number 23D8133. So that's the current build. And if we go to Software Update, you'll see we don't have any updates. Of course, there are beta updates if you wanted to run those. Now let's go back and see if we have that PWM option. So if we go to Accessibility, then we go to Display and Text Size, scroll down. It looks like we do have Display Pulse Smoothing. This is an option we weren't sure if it was on this phone or not, where we don't have it on the old one. This takes care of PWM issues if you have that. So this will be great news for those that don't want PWM. It's on all the iPhone 17 models this year. And what it does, it provides a different way to dim the OLED display at low brightness levels by disabling pulse width modulation, which can create a smoother display output. Disabling PWM may affect low brightness display performance under certain conditions. So I'm really happy to see this on this particular model. Now let me go ahead and configure the display just a moment here so it doesn't turn off on us while we're actually recording the video. I'll turn off True Tone as well, as I don't like the whites to be paper white based on the light. And again, we'll turn off auto brightness as well so it doesn't dim or brighten during the video recording. So everything's set up, and let's talk about the processor. So this time around, we have an A19 chipset with a 6-core CPU, 2 performance and 4 efficiency cores, and a 4-core GPU, this time with neural accelerators. We also have, again, a 16-core neural engine, so that's the difference here with the processor. We'll compare it in just a moment as far as the overall benchmarks, but as you can see, we still have a notch. So there's no dynamic island here, unfortunately, and the bezels are quite thick. So if we compare it maybe to the 17 Pro Max that I have over here, you'll see the bezels here. Well, let me switch to a different wallpaper. And with this wallpaper from the other day, you can see the bezel difference on the 17 Pro Max versus the 17E. Of course, there's no real difference here compared with the 16E. So you can see the bezels on the 16E, it's basically the exact same display. So no real changes there if you're going from the 16E to the 17E. The one other change before we take a look at a few other things here is that we have the C1X chipset. So instead of the C1, we now have the C1X. It's 2 times faster than the C1. We have Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.1. We still have a 48 megapixel camera, but now it has next generation portraits with focus and depth control. And again, it's the 12 megapixel forward facing camera. So it keeps trying to bring me through setup here, but we have the same forward facing camera. So no real change there from the 16E. Also, before we take a look at the speed, according to different things I could find online, this has a 4005 milliamp hour battery that's good for 26 hours of video playback, the same amount of battery life that the 16E has according to Apple. So no real change there whatsoever. Now let's take a look at the wallpaper that we have. So let's go ahead and get rid of all this, press and hold. We'll see what wallpaper we have. So we'll scroll down here, and again, it's taking a moment to load. Well, let's go down to Collections, and you'll see the new wallpaper. So this is for the new color here. You'll see black, white, and soft pink. So depending on what you'd like, I really like this black one here. So we'll go ahead and add that, and then we'll take a look at overall speed. Now the phone is a little bit warm because it's setting everything up. That's to be expected here. But let me go ahead and get Geekbench installed so we can just take a quick look at it. So we do have Geekbench 6 installed, so we'll let it load here for just a moment for the first time, and you'll see we have 8 gigs of RAM. So with the latest processor, 8 gigs of RAM, let's go ahead and run a CPU benchmark. Now keep in mind it is a little bit warm, but let's run it and see what we get. And I'll run it on the 16E just so we can compare here. So again, we'll go in and run it here as well. Now, while this is running, let's go ahead and take a look at the heat signature, see if anything's changed there. We don't have a vapor chamber or anything like that, but you can see under The thermal camera here in the hottest part where the processor is, we're already at about 48 degrees Celsius, which is quite warm. And on the 16E, it's a little less warm at 40 degrees Celsius. That's probably because it's processing so much in the background, and I'm sure there's a lot to finish here. So we'll let this finish, see what we get, but I would expect this to be a little bit lower than we would expect after maybe a day or two, since it's processing so much, finishing in the background and indexing everything new. And this proves what I was talking about. You'll see initial benchmarks are way low. Let me let this cool for maybe 15-20 minutes, finish processing, and let's run it again. Now that it's done running benchmarks, it may still be processing in the background a little bit, but if we take a look at the overall heat, the iPhone 17e is running right around 33 degrees Celsius, where the iPhone 16e is sitting right around 29.5 or so degrees Celsius. So it's probably still processing quite a bit in the background, but it should stay nice and cool now that it's finished. Now, benchmarks completed after I ran it a couple times and let it cool down. Basically what was happening is Photos was updating in the background with iCloud. So I had to let that finish or turn off Wi-Fi to stop it so we could get accurate measurements of the actual processor. So you'll see compared to the 16E, it's a little bit faster with single core at 3,673 compared to 3,328, and multi-core is 9,183 compared to 8,296. So pretty good overall, a little bit of a bump there. Now, I don't know if you'll notice this day today, but the overall experience should be nice and fast, support all of the future Apple Intelligence updates with Siri 2.0, and of course it will take a few days to know what it's like to use with the processor, not just that, but battery life and everything else. Let me know if you'd like a full review, or if you're going to pick one of these up. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. So that's everything with the iPhone 17e, a nice incremental upgrade. They didn't get rid of the notch, but we do have the A19 CPU, we have the C1X modem, MagSafe, Ceramic Shield 2, along with the PWM option, and then of course the camera upgrade as well for portraits, which is a minor upgrade. So let me know what you think of the iPhone 17e in the comments below, and of course I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.